Hi everyone. Today is Sunday, October 28th, and I don't know if people know out there that currently in one province, to begin, in Canada, um, north of the USA, there's no operating government. The government has actually been shut down. So, what exactly do people do in a situation like this? You know, one of the things that I've just been pondering on is just this kind of work ethic where people just think it's okay to, sort of impose on people's lives and, create all sorts of contention. And the particular demographic that I'm speaking about to begin with is called Ontario, Canada. And they have this very strange way to assert itself as sort of this global leader in all different kinds of things related to peace, poverty, reduction. First of all, why is there something called poverty reduction? There should be zero poverty. So I've just been following sort of this culture, this provincial culture, this culture in this province, and one of the things that has actually assisted me to make sense of, sort of this thing around, work ethic, is doing a governance analysis. And I've taken the positions of, for example, all in Canada at the province level. They have, for example, a central place where anybody can form their own political party. They can come up with their own agenda, their own structure, whatever they want, and they actually register this group. And so from these registered groups, you can choose whichever one facilitates your values, I guess. And I've been following actually this one particular group called the Liberal Party of Canada. And my bias is that I don't support any form of differential racism and exploitation of nature. And they have been in sort of in this decision-making role for a very long time in Ontario, Canada. They created a lot of problems with respect to, for example, tragedies in the black community, and there's no accountability for all this. So when I began to sort of tune in a little bit more closer through and by applying sort of critical thinking and critical reflection and operationalizing some little tools and things that I sort of developed over the years, I began to realize that it's very, very important for us to actually get involved in something called governance, because what kind of work ethic are you setting and standard are you applying when you can say that it's okay to just shut down the government, inconvenience all these people, and then don't even have a backup plan? A lot of the stuff that I discuss on my channel is in relation to developing a critical consciousness and a critical practice around deconstructing this thing called the supremacy of whiteness. And a lot of that is actually facilitated in this academic body of knowledge called Black Feminism from the United States. It focuses on, for example, contextualizing all the oppressions in multiple layers, but also focusing on strategies to destabilize or eliminate these systems that actually perpetuate a lot of tragedies related to a lot of different communities. So there's no government functioning in Ontario, Canada, care of something called the Liberal Party of Canada, the provincial version of that. And so one of the things I've just been saying to myself is like, what the fuck is this? Because people need to get things done, and it's really interesting because you see a lot of these technical strategies that are used to create poverty in people's lives, to create different types of differential positions. to even create like this system of criminalization and medicalization care of the Liberal Party of Canada, province version, as well as the federal version as well. So I just wanted to say to people out there, one way to actually process some of this stuff is to actually begin to do something called a governance analysis. What you do is you look at all the different political party positions. In our vocabulary, we don't even have this word called political. We have a word called decision making, or otherwise known as governance. And what we do is we do something called an analysis. And we take data in relation to a lot of different parameters, and we work through it, we chart it out, we look at it, we discuss it, and then what we do is we actually align in very, very large groups to go for this position or this position or this position. So I actually went to the website of some of the alternatives, and I noticed that one that is criticized in the newspapers typically, and I don't really follow this white-centric media stuff because the journalism is just really poor, is that it's very, very important to actually go straight to the websites of all of the different registered governance groups and look at what they have to offer, but also look at how they operationalize things. So I've been actually going to for example, the Ontario PC website. And, I've been looking at for the ability of this position of governance to get people involved, not at the level of patronizing people, but actually getting people involved more practically in feedback, policy paper positions, even like formulating, different types of responses. And I'm very impressed with them, actually. It's funny because I never really imagined that I would take this position to align with a group that seemed to be so different from what I represented, or what I understood was a practical position. However, when I sort of separated myself from this, whiteness media garbage stuff, when I actually learned more about it, I said, you know what, that's just a lot of bullshit that the media does. And there's different types of medias. There's the Eurocentric media, and then there's stuff that's actually critical. You engage with different positions, and you work across differences, and you try to come to a common goal of civil and democratic. How is this actually democratic when you shut down a government? You don't even ask people for the permission to do so. Second, how is this not any different from some of the supremacy of whiteness practices that led to a lot of dehumanizations around the world? Third, look at the way that different governance groups actually operationalize themselves. Lots of tokenism, for example, in Ontario, Canada, and a lot of supremacy of ignorance. Absolutely no respect for nature. And where do we actually get these ideas from that it's okay to sort of follow things like sheeple? People, the government has been shut down in Ontario. How many of you actually know about this? This is Ontario, Canada. And what are your thoughts about this?